Hello everyone, and welcome to Farming for Art Crafts. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn and put some vinyl, a water slide, and epoxy one of these coffee mugs. As you can kind of see, I already have one kind of done. It's not epoxied yet, but as you can see, I already have the vinyl on it. And then this right here, the little house, is the water slide. But my next step is to go ahead and epoxy it, which I will show you how to do all of these. So the Hatchery House is actually a bed and breakfast in Missouri. One of my friends asked me to make them some mugs for them, so that's what I'm doing right now. So the materials that you're going to need is, of course, the cup that you want to turn on vinyl. So, of course, for me, it's the coffee mug. A thing of water, your water slide, which I right here already cut out and printed off and everything. The vinyl, which again cut out, weeded, and I also put the transfer tape on, which you also need transfer tape. Your weeding tool to kind of help a little bit, some scissors, and then of course your sealant, which right here I have is a clear glaze. You can get this at any store you want. I've been using this, but you can use any kind of, like the decal art spray stuff as well, works really good as well. The reason why you want to have this is because when you are done printing off your water slide, you want to use 3 coats for this to seal that ink in, because if you don't and you put it in the water right away, you're going to turn around and lose your image. So just an FYI. So we are going, and you also will need your epoxy spinner, which I have behind me, and I'll get that set up here in a little bit. And then also, of course, your epoxy. So we're going to get started here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the big piece first. So since I already had it weeded and already on my transfer tape, I'm going to slowly peel this off. And as you can see, it's on the transfer tape. And careful, because that transfer tape does get a little sticky. Alright, so I gotta do this on my lap. Alright, so once you have your vinyl on your cup, you want to smooth it out as best as you can. And of course, when you try and get the image on the transfer tape, go ahead and use like a back of your ID card or credit card or something like that. It really helps. Then you get a really good stick to that transfer tape. And then I'm going to slowly peel this off. And of course, some of these letters like to stick. So if that happens, just kind of use your thumb or your weeding tool to kind of hold it down. Especially when you have like little pieces where when I get to the little dots here, that likes to do that too. And you're going to slowly peel this off. There we go. And as you can see, now we have one part of the vinyl done. I'm going to do the other one, which is the bed and breakfast part. So again, I'm going to peel the backing off slowly. And if some of the vinyl stuff's popping back up with the paper when you're trying to take it off, just push it back down a little bit more firmly, and then it'll stick. So again, the same thing as you just did with the other part. Put it on, and when you kind of have some like around like this, kind of pull a little bit on the end. And then again, smooth it out. Just smooth it out. And then, once again, just slowly peel this off. And then the font that I used for the lettering is called Angelo. It actually matches the bed and breakfast sign if you Google it. But yeah, that's kind of what Angelo looks like. I got it from myfont.com, which I'll have the link below. But anyway, but here is the vinyl, all said and done. Now, with your water slide, when you do print this off, I did kind of a print-a-cut, but I didn't really cut it with my Cricut. So you want this to print on the glossy side. Follow your instructions on what it tells you to do. This is the water slide that I use. I got off of Amazon. Tried to order some more, but I don't know if they have them back in stock. But this is pretty much exactly what I used. Love it. It's great. It's awesome. I did get some more. So it kind of depends also what kind of printer you have as well. So I have an inkjet, but yeah. So again, make sure you print this on the glossy side. I learned the hard way. It took me like 3 sheets to figure that part out. But yeah, print on the glossy side. And then when it's done prints, let it sit for a minute or two to kind of dry. And then take it to a well-vented, mostly outside, and spray 3 coats on this. And wait about a minute in between each coat before you put this in the water. Because you don't put it, if you just let it print, then let it dry, and then put it in the water, you're going to pretty much lose your image. The sealant will help seal that image in. So I'm going to put this in the water, and it should curl, as you can kind of see. So curled up into like a little ball kind of thing. And then normally it will slide right off, but with this one, for some odd reason. Okay. How am I supposed to slide off? There it goes. So, and then you just slide it right off the backing, or peel it off, whichever. So as you can see, it's completely clear. And then I'm just going to place this on. And we're kind of fast a little bit because it's dry, semi-quick. And just lightly smooth it out. If you do put a water slide on, kind of make sure the surface also is a little bit wet. With me, I'm okay because I left a little bit of that water on it. And then when you have it where you want it, kind of dab it just a little. Don't scratch, don't go up and down, or you will practically either slide the image to where you don't want it, and then you can't slide it back, or you practically will ruin that image. So there is the vinyl and epoxy with the water slide image on it. So next we're going to go ahead and get the template going. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back. So I'm going to go ahead and epoxy my cups that I have. So this is what I use for my epoxy. It's called Art Resin. I actually like it. It's not bad. A little pricey, but again, make sure you do all this in a well-vented area. Definitely wear gloves with it and wear a mask because the fumes are a little strong. So with this, you won't need a whole lot. But there is one that is, so this one's the actual resin, and this one's the actual hardener. You will need both, of course. So pretty much what I do, and again, like I said, you don't need a whole lot. I just kind of make like a cap full. Make sure you have equal parts to this, because if not, it doesn't work very well. And then I just put in my little silicone measuring cup here. And then I have my Little Mermaid tail mixer, which really comes in handy. I'm just going to make sure I get all this epoxy out. And if you use your the mermaid tails for both to get the epoxy out, make sure you use 2 different mermaid tails, because if you don't, then it's going to cure and you won't be able to get these back open. Because they will pretty much cure themselves. And I'm going to do the resin part. And I'm just gonna mix this all together. Alright, so I'm just gonna mix it. And you can mix this in like a plastic cup, whichever you prefer. But you want to go slowly. And we're probably going to mix for a good few minutes, 5 tops, until you kind of feel it nice and warm. And there's going to be some air bubbles in there. And that's another thing you will need to is a heat gun, because this does kind of does get bubbles in it when you do epoxy. So a heat gun or epoxy gun, whichever you prefer, works really, really well. But as you can kind of see, kind of hard to see, but yeah, so it's getting there. I love working with epoxy because it seals stuff, especially when it's something, you know, vinyl, and you don't want it to, you know, wash off in a few washes. And that's another thing too with epoxy, you cannot dishwasher. This is what's not dishwasher friendly. You can hand wash it, which works perfectly fine. But dishwashing, for what I've been hearing, it melts off the epoxy. So hand washing is great, which again, like I said with the vinyl, if you were to hand wash the vinyl, you would have to very gently hand wash it. But if you put epoxy on it, then you have no problem. You can just hand wash it and you're good to go. But yeah, so just make sure you're mixing this really well, getting all the, it mixes good. Again, why I like the fishtails, because it goes straight to the bottom of my silicone measuring cup here. And I'm able to kind of get all those next little crannies parts. So I just want to make sure it's not cloudy. And again, I see a bunch of air bubbles, which is fine. We will get those out. And it's starting to get kind of warm. Feels a little warm to me. You know, what I like to do is, what I'm trying doing this is to have like an old baking pan, doesn't matter, and then I got these silicone mold mats from Amazon, I believe. I'm not 100, can't really remember, but they work really well because that epoxy will drip. So make sure you have something protective, your table, the whole 9 yards. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my mug on. I know this styrofoam is a little bit bigger than my cup, which is fine. This on to make sure when I look at it, it's not doing like this weird thing. You want to kind of make sure it's nice and straight, which is nuts. Actually, a smaller one might not be a bad idea. So I can kind of see that one wasn't gonna really work. Anyway. So I'm just gonna switch out my I'll switch out my foam holder. And that looks a lot more straighter. It's, again, like I said, I just want to make sure that's not doing this weird floppy thing, because if you have weird and floppy, it's not going to look great. It's going to look like that. So I'm going to take my epoxy, and you have about 40-ish, 45 minutes, depending on your epoxy, to play with it, or to mix it and do what you need to do with it before it starts hardening. And this stuff takes about 24 hours to harden. So, with me, you can try and use your fishtail, mermaid tail, however you want to call it, to put the epoxy on. I like to do my finger because it makes it a little easier to control. And then, of course, as you can see, I'm kind of just letting it dribble. And I'm just kind of putting these over the letters. And then I'll put it over the water slide, which I'll have to do very gently because I don't want to ruin that. And I'm doing this while it's turning. And I like to keep an eye on it for a few hours, just so I know it's doing what it needs to do. And as you can see, I'm not covering the whole thing like I would a tumbler. But I also don't want it up here too far either, because that's where people drink from. And I just don't want people getting sick. And this will self-cure it, so this will line itself. And the reason why I like to watch it for a few hours is because some of the words are down here on the bottom. And I don't want the epoxy getting down here and the cup not being able to stand correctly. Which I learned the hard way again too when I did my first tumbler, is having way too much epoxy on it. So, as you can kind of see, just making sure I'm getting all the parts that I want. Making sure all the epoxy's on there. Right where it needs to be. So nothing gets ruined when this is being in use. But yes, this epoxy will self-rubber itself out. So anything that's kind of out of the ordinary or missing spots, it kind of goes in and fills it. Which is really nice. Piece of hair in there. So again, when you're messing with epoxy, wear gloves, wear a mask. Make sure you're in a well-vented area. And I'm going to let this stay on my spinner for the next 24 hours. And that's about, like I said, how long it takes for the stuff to cure. So I will see you guys pretty much the next day. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Family Firecraft. So I let this be on my spinner for pretty much overnight with the epoxy drying and whatnot. And as you can kind of tell, it's all pretty much sealed. So the words, when you do hand wash it, again, cannot go in the dishwasher because it will melt the epoxy off. But as you can turn and tell that it is all smooth on it. I'm not hitting any of my vinyl. I'm not hitting this part, the water slide. Not coming off. Nothing's, I mean, it's literally just pure out smooth. I know it's not the best, but I mean, if you want something to stay permanently, epoxy is the best way to go on pretty much anything, per se. Anything glassware, plateware. I actually wouldn't do plateware unless, you know, like a serving tray, you have plates on top of that epoxy. But all in all, I love how the results came out. Again, this is pretty much for my friend's friend that lives in Missouri, that they own a bed and breakfast. As you can see, it says bed and breakfast on it. And it's called the Hatchery House. And the pictures that I've seen on Google look really awesome. But I hope this tutorial helps with putting the water slide on, putting some vinyl on, and doing your epoxy. And again, you don't need a whole lot of epoxy at all. The rusty epoxy that I had in my measuring cup, I literally just put it in a mold right here. I just put some more in there. This is kind of a big mold, but it's like a little cactus flower that I got for Christmas. So again, pass some epoxy left over. I hate wasting stuff. And you have some molds. You know, great way for, you know, kind of like Christmas gift, birthday gift, whatever kind of gift. Or even just for yourself, you know. So, all in all, I like how this really did come out. So, I really, like I said, I really hope this tutorial helps you. Like, subscribe, and comment below. And then I'll see you guys next time. Bye!